Hello, third grade, and welcome to topic 3 in math. Today we're going to start working on lesson 3-1 about the distributive property of multiplication. Now, the distributive property says that you can distribute or break apart or pass out the parts of a number of a multiplication fact into the sum of two smaller multiplication facts. I'm going to show you what that looks like, and we're going to do some examples together.
How can you break up a multiplication fact? Maria wants to set up 7 rows of 4 chairs for a meeting. She wants to know how many chairs are needed, but does not know the product of 7 times 4. You can use known facts to help find the product of unknown facts. How does this arrangement of chairs show 7 times 4? The chairs are in an array. There are 7 rows with 4 chairs in each row. How can splitting an array help you multiply? Think about this question as you do the activity that comes next.
Okay, so far what we've seen is they've taken the multiplication fact and made it into an array, which is something we've done before. Now, when they're talking about splitting that array, that means you're going to count part of the array first and then count the second part of the array afterwards, and then put those two partial answers together. So let's go ahead and see how they move forward with this operation.
Maria thinks of 7 rows of 4 chairs as 5 rows of 4 chairs and another 2 rows of 4 chairs. Could Maria have broken the 7 rows any other way?
Now, so far we've seen one way that they split the array. So we know our 5 times tables, those ones are pretty easy, and we know our 2 times tables. Now, what she did was she's just separating them. She's not adding more, she's not taking any away. So our product is still going to be the same at the end of this multiplication. Same as if we had done 7 times 4 from the beginning. So all she did right now was separate them. Now there's more than one way you can separate an array. So you're just dividing up the rows. So how many rows are you going to count at a time? First you did 5 times 4 and then 2 times 4 because the 5 and the 2 make 7. But she can also split it as a group of 3 and a group of 4, or a group of 1 and a group of 6 rows. So there are multiple different ways you can split an array. There isn't one set way that you have to follow.
Yes, she could have broken the 7 rows into 3 rows of 4 chairs and 4 rows of 4 chairs. The distributive property says that a multiplication fact can be broken apart into the sum of 2 other facts. What is 5 times 4? What is 2 times 4? 5 times 4 is 20, and 2 times 4 is 8. 20 plus 8 is another way to find 7 times 4. So 7 times 4 equals 28. Would the total number of chairs have been different if Maria broke up the 7 rows in a different way? No, the facts would have been different, but the total number of chairs would be the same. Maria needs 28 chairs in all.
Okay, so for this next example, we know that she has 7 rows of 4 chairs, and she doesn't know the product of 7 times 4. So 2 ways that she could have broken them up were the examples we saw in the previous video. She could have done either the 5 times 2, or sorry, the 5 times 7 and then the 2 times 7. So she broke that 7 into 5 and 2, or she could have broken that 7 into 3 and 4. She also could have broken that 7 into 1 and 6, or 6 and 1. Remember, you can switch those either way to find your answer. Let's go ahead and take a look at our guided practice questions. Now for our guided practice, the first question says, Raphael broke up an array of 6 times 3 into 2 new arrays. Both of his new arrays are the same. What were the 2 new arrays? So let's go ahead and take a look at our notes, and then we're going to move in and complete our guided practice. So some of the notes that we took while watching the video, we put the title of our lesson at the top, 3-1, the distributive property. And we said that the distributive property says that a multiplication fact can be distributed or broken apart into the sum of 2 other multiplication facts. So the example that I gave you guys here is 9 times 3. So maybe I don't know my 9 times tables all that well yet, and I'm not sure what the answer is. So I know that I can break apart 9 into 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4 equals 9. So I pick one of my numbers and I break it apart. Now I can do the parts times 3. So I can do the 5 times 3, and I can do the 4 times 3, and I can find the sum or add those two together to find the answer. So 5 times 3 I know is 15. 4 times 3 I know is 27, or sorry, 17. 4 times 3 is 12. Sorry, third grade, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. The 15 plus the 12 is what gave me 27. So by finding the sum of these 2 partial products, remember partial products means a part of your answer, a part of your multiplication answer. So 9 times 3, I broke it apart into 5 times 3 and 4 times 3. My first partial product for 5 times 3 was 15. My second partial product for 4 times 3 was 12. Now I want to find the sum of both of those. 15 plus 12 gave me 27. So I know that 9 times 3 was equal to 27. Now, if I wanted to draw that out as an array, here are my 9 rows with 3 in each row. So here's 9 altogether, and we know there's 3 in each one. So I broke it apart. All I did was basically made a cut right here, right down in between. Now I didn't take any away and I didn't add any extra, but I'm just counting them in smaller pieces. So this is my 5 times 3 gave me my 15. My 4 times 3 down here gave me 12. When I added those two together, I found the product of 9 times 3, which was 27. Now let's go on to our guided practice questions. Now remember, we said that Raphael broke up his 6 times 3 array into 2 equal arrays. So how can we break apart a 6 times 3 array into 2 equal arrays? So think about the number 6. Can we split that into 2 equal groups? Well, we know we can make 6 with 3 plus 3, or 3 times 2. So what I can do is I can count 3 and then another 3. So this will be a group of 3 right here. And this will be another group of 3 right here. So 6 times 3 was equal to 3 times 3 plus the other 3 times 3. So I know 3 times 3 is 9 plus another 9, right? The other 3 times 3 is 9, which gave me 18. So I know there's 18 in my array right here. So all we did was we took the big 6 times 3 array, we cut it into 2 equal parts. The first group had 3 in it, the second group had 3 in it. We found the partial products and then the sum of those partial products that gave us our answer. So we know 6 times 3 is 18. Now for number 2, it says Anne broke up a large array into 2 smaller arrays. So she broke it up into 1 times 8 and 4 times 8. What they're asking us in this question is, what is the large array? So what was the original number that she was working with before she broke it apart? So we know she broke it up into 4 rows plus 1 more row. And we know that 4 plus 1 more is 5. And we can go through and count these just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know there's 5 rows with 8 in each row. So her original array was 5 times 8. So if you look at this, there's 5 rows altogether. She broke it apart into 1 times 8 and 4 times 8, because we know 1 plus 4 equals 5. And we know that 5 times 8 is equal to 40. Now for numbers 3 and 4, I drew out as best as I could the array that they have in your book for you. Now they showed you that their big array, they labeled it as 4 times 8, and they broke it up into 2 smaller arrays. So they had a group up here and then another set of groups down here. So we know altogether our array has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows in it. So over here, it's going to be 4 times 8, right? That's the whole thing. And we saw that they kind of split it. They left a gap in the middle over here. So we know there's 1, 2 rows over here and 1, 2 rows over here. So they already gave us a clue. They said one of them is 2 times 8. So we have to find the other part of 4. 2 plus something is equal to 4. So we know that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So this other array is broken up into another group of 2. So we distributed that 4. We passed it out into 2 equal groups. First group has 2 and the second group has 2. Now for our last question down here, for number 4, they gave you an array that looks like this. They told you on the side that it's a 3 by 5 array. So we have 1, 2, 3 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each row. So we know that our main multiplication, our big array, is 3 times 5 because we have 3 rows with 5 in each row. Now, we know that it's going to be something times 5 because there's 5 in each row. And we know that one group is made up of 1 row, and we know there's 5 in it, so we can fill that part in right away. We know it's going to be 1 times 5. So that leaves us, what is the rest of 3? If we took one group away, how many groups do we have left? So 3 take away 1 is going to give us 2. We have 2 rows left. So 3 times 5 is equal to the sum, or what we get when we add 2 times 5 plus 1 times 5. So what did we get when we added 2 groups of 5 plus 1 group of 5? Well, I know 2 groups of 5 is equal to 10, and 1 group of 5 is equal to 5. So 3 times 5 is equal to 3 times 5 is equal to 10 plus 5, which is 15 altogether. So the distributive property is pretty easy to do. All you're doing is you're taking your first number, usually the number of rows that you have, and you're splitting it into 2 parts. They don't need to be equal parts. You just need to find a way to make that number. So I couldn't split 9 equally. I split it into 5 plus 4. Now I also could have split it into 6 plus 3 because 6 plus 3 also equals 9. Or I could have split it into 2 plus 7 because 2 plus 7 also equals 9, or 8 plus 1. There's a lot of different ways you can split apart these numbers. So all you're doing is when you have your big array, you're deciding where you want to make that cut across so that you can count one group first and then you can count your second group. You usually want to split it into easy numbers that you know how to work with. You don't want to split it into anything that's difficult. So make sure you complete your independent practice starting from number 5 onwards. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day, 3rd grade. Take care. Bye-bye.